Okay, family, welcome to Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. We're going to have the honor tonight of having Baba James Small and Baba Mfundishi. So let's get into the opening. Remember to like, subscribe, share on this cold night. Let's have fun.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Welcome home, family, and join us for the fun. Colorful guests, people everywhere under the sun. Interesting conversations. Prayers first has begun. Invocation, manifestation, conversation then will come. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Crystals, pyramid. Let's start drinking some water, juice or tea. King Killer was recommended for you and me. Guayusa mixed together, maple syrup or honey. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, the artists, the seers, authors and teachers, dissolving your fears. Workshops of wisdom, the circle is wide. Plant medicine whispers, the planets align. No magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Crystals and pyramids, magnets that spin. Organ awakening the power within. Tantra and herbs, the gateways ignite. Shamanic drums calling truth into light. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. Hope you got your Kinkaliba tea tonight. Here in New York, it's about like 12 degrees outside. I got a whole bunch of candles to create the right ambiance for this mystical night of two masters, Baba Mfundishi and Baba James Small. So upon the shoulders that we all ride on, we say thank you, and then we invite Yeshua. We thank and invite the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko. We thank and invite ascended master from Senegal, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Sheikh Ibrahim. Family, the language of Senegal is known to be an ancient Egyptian dialect. The language of Wolof is an ancient Egyptian dialect. Let that sink in. We are here. We are everywhere. Thank and invite Black Madonna, Mother Mary. Thank and invite Archangel Michael. This is the Ethiopian version of Archangel Michael. All right. Here we have Enoch, the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. We thank Saint Germain, gatekeeper of Mount Shasta, Northern California, entrance into the hollow earth where you and I would stay in our 20s for approximately 10,000 years or more. We're living on the rooftop of the planet, and we look decrepit, like worn out chocolate chip cookies before we even hit 100. But in the Earth's interior, we live for about 10,000 years. Let that sink in. All right. We thank and invite Lady Buddha, Krishna, Buddha. We thank and invite Imhotep, Ptahhotep, Akhenaten. We thank and invite Asar or Set. We thank and invite Marcus Mosaic Garvey, El Haj Malik El Shabazz. We thank and invite Prophet Noble Jurali. We thank and invite Seraphis Bey, all the ascended masters of Atlantis, all the ascended masters of Lemuria. We thank and invite all of our bloodlines serving the rhythm of love. So without further ado, we say Ashe, Mahalo, Donada, Wado, and we bring on Baba Mfundishi, Jehudi Mes, Hassan Salim. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Dua and chair. It is an honor. It's an honor. Dua.
Yeah. So you got some time to make it rock while we waiting on Baba James Small to roll in shortly. I guess he'll be all right. What you got cooking? I have your flyer here, family. Take a look at this flyer. This is coming up next week. All right. Here it is right here. Masterclass Black Men Rising. Professor James Small, Mfundishi, Jehudi Mes, Ka in Haru, Hassan K. Salim. February 7th, 2026, 2 to 6 p.m. That might go on over. I think it might go on overtime.
Yeah, we plan at least 2 to 7, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have the theater. They said they wouldn't charge us if people got inspired.
Yeah, catch the ghost. I was doing some graphics. You saw the pictures I sent you. I was doing some AI graphics, to show how we are not alone. We connected with the ancestors. We got ancestor armies, so I thought it was a real colorful. I got to show it to y'all, family. This is what it looked like right here. Y'all let me know wherever you're listening from, whatever part of the world, whatever the.
That's me and Brother Small. Okay.
That's you and Brother Smalls.
Make sure you send me that.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, man. I got a few more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, send that to my email that you just same way you did.
Oh, okay.
Text. Okay.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you can relate to that, right?
The Small see it?
I don't know. He's gonna see it tonight. Yep, he's gonna see it tonight. Y'all make in the comments, y'all. Let us know how you like it. And then I have one that y'all holding lightning, and a ghost army of ancestors coming rolling down the hill to join and help the young folks catch the message. Yeah, I got to put that up. Let me put that up. Go ahead, brother. Talk to us.
Yeah, but I also want to remind people there's a Youth Solution Survival Summit tomorrow in Harlem. At the 125th Street. We're talking about how we can connect with the youth. Well, the youth say, well, if you want to connect with us, we need to be there. Don't be talking about us. Talk to us. So there's a summit tomorrow. It's called a Survival Summit on 125th Street in Adam Clayton Powell at the State Office Building, second floor, from 12 to 6.
Wow. And also want to acknowledge. Go ahead.
Youth Solutions and Survival Summit. That's tomorrow, right in Harlem. No charge, is free. All you need is ID, because to get into the Harlem State Office building, you got to have ID. So if you got ID, you come in free. It's on the second floor conference room.
And make sure if you do like me, if you have any kind of tools like pliers or foldable knife for craftsmen, you make sure you leave that somewhere else, because they didn't let me in there. I had all my auxiliary for jewelry making.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get in because, it's like, no, you can't have this coming into this Harlem State Office building. So I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time.
Yeah, it's like going to the airport.
Going to the airport by way of Harlem. So I'm going to show the other pictures that I had. Let me make sure Baba James Small is all right. Let me see if he's because he might have nodded off. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in now, brother.
Okay, bro. Take your time. We'll keep the candles burning for you.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let me bring up while we got a chance. Let me put these because I was like, man, I'd like to make a AI movie of you guys directing the ancestors to the youth. And here's another one right here. And let me see. I pull up another one. How you like this, Mfundishi?
Oh, that's fire.
Family, how y'all like that? Let me know how y'all like that. And then we got one right here. This is where you and Baba James Small with the ancestors, the kings of antiquity. Yeah, here it is right here. Here it comes. I gotta remove some stuff to add some stuff. Here it is. Let me see. This is look. Yeah, this one. I like this one. There's a bunch. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to repeat. Did I repeat that? Yeah, I think I repeated. Okay, so let me show another one. Family, let us know how you like these photos. This is how we got to use AI, family. This is how we got to do it. Let me see. There's some more. This is where there's a whole army of ancestors coming down. Let me see where it is. Right here. Yeah, this is my favorite right here. Let me put this up. How you like this?
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. Yeah, we got folks listening in from Pennsylvania. Y'all let me know how y'all like this, because this is what Baba James Small and Baba Mfundishi is doing. They calling the ancestors to come and assist. And you see the young folks looking like, wow, I did not know that. Yeah. So that's what I was doing, and I'll send those to you.
Okay,
coming in. Yeah.
Make some copies and have them posted up that day when they come in.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah. Also, special acknowledgement to King Simon. He's doing a birthday party at Nicholas right now.
That's right. We all Aquariuses. That's right.
Yeah, and
Aquarius season.
Yeah, and so I said, my heart is there with you, but we got to do this show tonight. And folks hey, we getting comments, brother. That magnanimous. We know how to do some sound mixes, man.
Yeah. I had a brother say it was blacknificent.
Oh, yeah, that's tight. That's tight. That's how James Brown would be proud. Mm-hmm. And Baba Haru Ra'ak Samaj, he used to like to do that too. He used to do the sound mixes and stuff. Let me see if there's something else. Let me see. I think I got another one where you inspired the youth. You and Baba James Small inspired the youth to look into herstory, in a way that
history erases the mystery.
Yeah, I like that. History erases the mystery.
And there's and history rewards all research. That's one that Malcolm used to use all the time. History rewards all research. You know.
Okay, here I got one more. I got one more to send. Let me see. Where is it? HNK8. This is where it gets real deep. Photos. Oh, I'm trying to do text. Yeah. So I was thinking of like taking all of this, and I want to give a special acknowledgement to Master Mo, because he's inspiring me to get into this AI called Sura.
Oh, okay.
So we use that to get the message to folks to study and research, be inspired by the knowledge, because how important, Baba Mfundishi, is it to study?
Well, you know, I teach this concept, and I'll be talking about it tonight, because, you know, what we're doing is a master workshop. So this isn't just a conference. This isn't just a lecture.
Hold 1 second. That's Baba James Small. Yes, Baba.
Yes, sir. I didn't see the email.
You didn't see the email? Oh, it was in okay, hold on. We got you. So we'll send it again.
Yeah, I'm pansub3@gmail.com.
Okay, hold on. I got you. Let me just pull it up. Email. Sent. All right, I'll send it again.
Yeah, I'm hitting my little refresh button to make sure it comes.
Okay. Hold on here. Let me hit you up 1 second. Hold on, fam. We're about to bring copy. Here we go. Link. Paste. Show link. That's it. Here it is right here. Boom. Dude. Apanza3@gmail.com. Shoot it, sending it to you right now.
Okay.
You see it?
Nope, it ain't popping yet, but sometimes this computer be slower than it should be. Last one came in at 7:01 p.m. So I know I'm working.
Yeah. I put your the phone to the mic so you can give everybody a hotep on a cold Friday. Baba Mfundishi is holding it down till you come on around.
All right, so hope that brothers and sisters let the master teach you until I get there. I'll be at his feet too. See you in a few minutes.
All right. Y'all heard it. Okay. So please continue.
Yes, sir. Well, we want to make sure that everybody know that this is a master class. It's not just a conference. It's not something, you know, you come, you bring your tape recorder, bring your pad and pencil. We're going to be dropping science. I'm a pre-scientist, not just a spiritual priest, but a spiritual pre-scientist, a comedic spiritual pre-scientist. And so we're going to be dropping the knowledge. We tell everybody we are the nature manifested in human form. See, we belittle ourselves. We look down at, we've been taught that we're just humans. In fact, people use that as a fallacy. I've heard people like, they'll do something stupid and go, oh, I'm only human. Like you're supposed to be stupid. No, you're supposed to be divine.
Oh, I like that.
Operating on a nature-like level, on a God-like level.
Yes.
So don't accept mediocrity.
Yes.
You know, you reach for the sky, and if you come short, you'll be above the clouds. But reach high. You know, we should tell people, Some people used to say, well, you can't be perfect. I said, well, if reach for perfection, and if you fall a little short, it'll be at excellent.
Yeah.
You know, but you're reaching for perfection. And we've been programmed that because we're human beings, we can't be perfect. No, you can't be perfect because you program yourself not to be perfect.
Yo, my cat is literally listening to you.
When I used,
Look at this.
When I used to do for martial arts, when I did my form, I wanted a 10. Anything less than a 10, then I know I got to go back to the drawing board. I want to be perfect. So if you wanted to beat me, you had to go 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 by every judge. You know, so you're going for perfection. So that's what we'll be doing. So we're telling people, bring your notebook, bring your tape recorder, and bring your knowledge. And you remember, me and Brother Small don't got all the answers. We're there to facilitate this program. We're here to facilitate and joggle your mind. To educate really means to bring out. You are born with everything that you need. Unfortunately, some of us have cultural amnesia because our parents had cultural amnesia. And your grandparents might have had cultural amnesia. So they passed that on to you. But now, guess what, people? Some of us are born with cultural karma, or what I call ancestral karma. So some of the stuff that you're battling with, you inherited. But guess what? You still got to deal with it. Whatever's on your plate, it's up for you to straighten it out. So you can't say, oh, well, I had nothing to do with slavery. I had nothing to do with that. I can't do nothing about that. No, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all happening now. We call that the infinite now. I'm going to say something that I know probably people are going to be texting in because they're going to say, Mfundishi, that's crazy. People told you that you can't change the past. History is already written. You can't do nothing about that. I'm telling you, when your consciousness changes, everything changes. Because guess what? You begin to look at events totally different when your consciousness changes. And so if you have a limited scope of nature, you're just reading what anybody says. I was taught to be when I was majoring in history in college, I was taught to be a research historian. Don't just be a historian that regurgitates everything they read and everything the teacher says. No, I want to research everything. Malcolm said, excuse me, history rewards all research. So I want to when I read the book, first thing I do is I want to look in the back and see your bibliography. I want to see who you've been reading, who you've been studying. I want to read them too. Maybe I'll come up with a different conclusion. So this is the type of tools we're going to be giving you. We want you to understand. Don't just take my word for it, Brother Smallworth. Research what we say. So let me go back to that formula first. We are all nature-like, we're divine spiritual beings having a divine human experience. Don't leave the divine out. Most of us leave that out because you don't think you're godlike. You think you're fallible. You think you're supposed to make mistakes. No, you're not. You've just accepted the fact that you've made mistakes.
Oh, and they need to let you in church on Sunday.
Yes. And a mistake, don't look at it as something bad. A mistake is a lesson. So you go back and understand, why did I make that mistake? Why did I fall? So that I don't fall again. So, you got to learn from every setback. But so we're all sent here. And you're sent here on a mission. You're here to study. Well, first to learn, then to study, then to share. Some of us are teachers, but all of us are not teachers. But everybody can share. And you're here to love. You love of self first, love of family, love of community, love of your people, and then love of the world. Some of us as Black people love the world, but we don't love ourselves. We love the whole world, but we don't love African people.
True.
Or we're way down the pecking list. No. self, family, community, your people. And then you can go to the world. And let me say this here. If you invent something or you create something and you reaching the benefit, that's the order it should happen. Black people still haven't learned this lesson. Let's say you invent something. You personally should benefit from it. That's number one. Secondly, your family should benefit from your invention because you are connected to all your ancestors. So you didn't do this by yourself. Your great-great-grandfather's DNA was right in there helping you come up with that thought. Your family should benefit from it. Then your community should benefit from it. Then your people should benefit from it. And then it goes out to the world. Let me give you an example because I know some of you are wondering, well, what Mfundishi is talking about? Carter G. Let me just use Garrett Morgan. He invented the traffic light and the gas mask. He saved millions of lives in European War I and II. He got paid $20,000 for the gas mask and didn't receive another penny. His family didn't get any money, and the gas mask is still being used all around the world, and black people did not benefit from it. He created the traffic light. He got $50,000 one time. He probably spent that before the year was out. His family didn't get any inheritance from it. His people didn't. The community didn't. General Electric bought it, spent it off to over 100 different multi-million-dollar corporations. Black people only got bragging rights. People, you can't go to the grocery store with bragging rights. You can't get on the airplane with bragging rights. You can't build a house with bragging rights. So what should have happened is some kind of endowment should have went to his family. He should have had a percentage go to black people or for scholarships or things of that nature. And then it should have been, some benefit to African people and then to the world. So I'm just trying to tell you, you benefit, your family benefits, your community and your people benefits, and then it goes to the world. African people, we invented, some of us get paid, and then it goes straight to the world, and all we get, the rest of us just get bragging rights. We have to change that formula. Remember, you control the governance, you control the economics, and you control the culture. So we're going to be giving you formulas like that. Other than that, our enemy benefits from our success more than we do. And that's the way capitalism is set up in America. My book, if you buy my book on Amazon, Amazon gets more money than I do. I wrote the book. Okay? So we need to change that scenario. We got to learn how to be producers. We got to learn how to be in the production stage. We got to learn how to get into the manufacturing stage. That's what Africa is beginning to learn now. Africa has the raw material, but they ship it off to Europe, ship it off to Asia, and then they sell it back to them. I remember I used to go to Ghana. Ghana would ship the chocolate off, the bean, and then they would be done in Swiss or in Switzerland or Los Angeles or Europe, Belgium, and then send it back. And the Ghanaians pay 3 times as much for chocolate as I did in America. I used to be able to get a chocolate bar for $1, and that cost $5 in Ghana, and the chocolate came from there. We got to change that scenario every place in Africa. We need to start producing the raw material, have the raw material, produce the end product, and then remember, your family. So African people should be employed from this. If we're the richest continent in the world, then Africans should be the most employed people in the world. If we got the most resources, those resources need to be able to filter back into the community so that the community embraces from it. And now when I say community, everybody in your community might not be black. You got Hispanics in your community, you got Asians in your community, but all of y'all working together. And so, yes, after my family, then I want my community to benefit from it, and then my African people, and then out to the world. So just remember that formula: love. And let me just continue this here thought. Love is the underlining ingredients: love of self, love of family, love of friends, love in your community, love of your people. A warrior is one who defends and protects love. So I learned martial arts because I want to be able to defend myself and my family. I'm not a mercenary. I'm not just learning martial arts so you can hire me out to whoop somebody. I'm not a mercenary. I'm a warrior. Warrior protects what he loves. So we need warriors for the African people. And so as long as whatever we love, you need to be able to protect it. What is that formula? What is that formula? I don't care if you're an electrician, you're a warrior and an electrician. You're a farmer, you're a warrior and a farmer. You're a doctor, you're a warrior and a doctor. Today, they have talked us out of being warriors. So we can't defend our communities. We can't defend our people. And we can't defend ourselves. We have to change that scenario. So that's just a beginning opening statement.
I like that. I like that.
You're muted, Brother Small.
Baba J. Small, you got.
Yes, I was telling Baba Mfundishi that was a good opening statement that sets the platform, the foundation for what we will be doing on the 7th. There's no way around what we're talking about on the 7th. I mean, you can continue to be unemployed. You can continue going to prison to see your family and your children. You can continue going to funerals because someone got killed foolishly at a party or in the street hanging out. You can continue watching your children graduate from school and can't get into any colleges anywhere because they were not prepared for anything, yet they've been to school for 12 years. You can continue complaining to some other race about the fact that you have no heat in the winter. I can't complain to anybody. I'm cold up in here because it's my own house, so I'm in charge of the heat. But all the things that a lot of the elements of our community find themselves in can be ended simply by stepping up the plate, being what a man is supposed to be in a family unit. You know, we've allowed ourselves to be victims of lesser beings, okay? Lesser beings. And so no one's gonna save our asses. No one. Okay? We're the only saviors we have. What we can learn from books like the Bible and the Torah and the Quran and the Rig Veda and the Upanishad and the Book of the Tao and the pyramid text and the coffin text. We can learn from all of those, but all the lessons must be applied to you right now. How do the things we learned from these literature that our ancestors left across the world help us today? And how does it help us get food in our houses, clothing on our back, shelters around our family, and safety for our family and the community we live in? And then we learn there's some things in the equation. You must gain knowledge. Knowledge brings understanding, and is understanding applied that is wisdom. You know, the applied understanding of the knowledge you've acquired. And so there must be a process where you know that this is happening. Everything comes in sequences, step by step. You don't get to the top step without going to the other steps in between the bottom step and the top step. And so that's how you become a master of something. We can't continue as a people like this. Yes, we've got millions of people who go to college. We've got millions of people who are living good. You can go to the Prince George's community in Maryland, and you find towns that are 99% Black people. And the average income is $100 plus $50,000. But that's not true for all of the Black community, because you can go to East St. Louis, and it's almost 99% Black people, and the median income is about $30,000. You understand? Is we've got to change that equation, because the people in East St. Louis is just as important and significant as the one in Prince George's County, Maryland. We can go to Hollywood and we see Eddie Murphy and all of the beautiful brothers and sisters who are acting, and the Wesley Snipes and so, but they don't represent 1% of 1% of 1% of our population. We see the brothers on the basketball court and the football field. They don't represent 1% of 1% of our population. The rest of our population is struggling, a large percentage of them. And then we've got about 1 million in prison and about 2 million in the parole system that is leading to or leading from prison. And they will return to our community as unemployables, 90% of them. And many of them will commit crime to hurt the people who have managed to save themselves. So what are we going to do to change this equation? There's a lot of models to look at. We can look at UNIA and see what Dr. Garvey gave us. We can look at OAU and see the potential that Malcolm was projecting towards us. We can look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the program he brought for us. We can look at Booker T. Washington and the business plans he laid out. We got to study all of those things, but then we have to put it in a formula to apply them to our daily lives, because we're not going to get out of this mess because there's no savior going to come from anywhere. There's nobody coming from Kemet looking like the Pharaoh. There's nobody coming from Africa dressing like Santa Hene. All right. This is on us. We will learn from the pharaohs. We will learn from Kemet. We will learn from the Arkans and the Ashantis and the Ga and the Yorubas and the other of our ancestral peoples. We will learn from our native people in this land who came before the Europeans and the Asiatics got here. But if we can't apply it to right now, it's all irrelevant.
Yes. And people, we've constantly stressed this concept of culture is your medicine. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know your culture, you're destined to be sick. And if you don't know what your culture is, because everybody got a culture, if you don't know what your culture is, then you've engulfed at your enemy's culture.
Yep.
Because everybody's operating in a culture. That's how you function. That's how you're thinking. You're thinking within a cultural paradigm. So if you're in line getting sneakers for $500, you're in somebody else's cultural paradigm. A capitalistic dog-eat-dog system is going to keep you down. Where your sneakers is more important than you creating a job, not going to get a job. When I was teaching in the Council of Independent Black Institutions, we were teaching children in the independent schools how to create your job. Mm-hmm. Not go looking for. Let me say something, y'all. And I know this might sound, again, right now, the major corporations are laying their middle management people off. They're like disposable. They're almost gone. You got the elite, and then you got the workers. That middle management that everybody went to college for, that's gone. They're laying them off. So them white boys with the MBAs and all that, they ain't got no jobs no more. So now, when you go to the unemployment line, and the former MBA guy there, guy with his master's degree and been working for IBM, and you go there, they're going to hire their person first. And I don't blame them. Let me say that again. You're going to corporate America to get a job from a European foundation. They're going to hire their people first. Trump already got rid of, what was it called? The equal employment thing.
DEA,
DEI,
DEI.
he got rid of all of that. All that's gone. But anyhow, white women benefited from that more than anybody anyway. But anyhow, that and the middle management. So you got to be black people. We're talking about you got to create your employment. Me and Brother Smart was talking about this. You sit down with your community leaders and you come up what we call a inventory of what you need to survive and flourish. And then you put people in every one of those positions. And then you look and you sit down with your family and you do an inventory. Okay, we need a place to live. We need to have money. We need food. How do we do that? Do we start farming? Can we build our house? I had come from, my father was Mfundishi, and the Mfundishi people in Tanzania, they have a saying. They have a thing. When young people get married, everybody in the community builds their house that day. Everybody in the community comes forth and they work to build that couple's house that day. That evening when they go to bed, they're in their own home and the whole community pitched in because they know when their child comes, everybody's going to pitch in for them. What goes around comes around. That's self-sufficiency. Now that's the Western world, even in Tanzania now, is becoming more like the Europeans. But that's why we need to be in our cultural paradigm, our own cultural paradigm. Dr. Clark said the best way to defeat your enemy's culture is by practicing your own. So I'm not bad mouthing his culture, even though it's suicidal for you. If he wants to be crazy, he has the right to be crazy. Don't be crazy with him in his culture. Find what is your culture. What's going to help you survive? What's going to help you flourish? So I do have a formula that we'll be teaching. I call it the 5 domains. Spirit domain. The nature is spirit. It is everything. It is consciousness. Understand it. Number 2, the mineral domain. The sun is a mineral. The planets are minerals. The earth is a mineral. And you are made from those same minerals. You are stardust. Understand minerals. What the name of this program? Magnets, crystals, and pyramids. You got to tap into the minerals and the elements all around you. The minerals feed into the plant domain. The plants are your food and your medicine. So you need to be in control of that. Your food and your medicine. The 3rd domain is the animal domain. Or the 4th is the animal domain. All animals were here before human beings. Animals are here to teach you how to survive in each domain. If you're in the grassland, look at the animals in the grassland. See how they're flourishing. You're in the tropical rainforest, see how the animals are surviving in the tropical rainforest. You're in the desert, look at how people, you're in the Sahel, look how creatures are surviving in the Sahel. Okay, you're on the water, look how the people are fishing. Look at how the fishes are the pecking order that they have. So look at the insect world. That's part of the animal world. Look at the insect domain. We understand. Watch this here. The strongest creature on the planet, in proportion to its size, is the dung beetle, Kepler from Kemet. The dung beetle. It can lift 1,125 times its weight. So now you understand why Kepler is so powerful in ancient Kemet. With the rhino beetle, it's the 2nd strongest creature in the world in proportion to its size. And then the ant, certain ants is the 3rd. They fall in that. And then you get to the elephant and stuff and the gorilla and stuff like that. But you need to understand the animal domain. Architectural engineer. Study the ants' architectural engineering. Her brother James will tell you, if you got an anthill in your backyard, you don't move it. It stays there.
Mhm.
You build around that boy.
Well, we just have to learn the reality on how species take care of themselves.
Yes.
Mamdani came in as the mayor of New York City, and a lot of Black people crossed over to his side. They said, oh, his name is Kwame, and he's from Uganda, but he left Uganda at 4 years old. He knows nothing about Uganda. He went to South Africa, to Cape Town. They stayed there until he was 7 years old, and he's been in America since he's been 7 years old. His background, his family, Shia Muslim, his wife is Syrian. And the first thing he did when he got elected was send an order to fire 179 members of the Adam administration, mostly Black people, without a thought, because he understands. Okay. Eric Adams, whatever the issue white people had with him, because we don't own none of the newspapers and radio and TV that were attacking them. None of those was owned by Black people who had an issue with Mr. Adams. They were all owned by our enemies. And he didn't go to jail, so whatever. Usually when they catch Black people doing a crime, he's in jail. But when they're accusing you of doing a crime, they just want to sully your reputation. And so the biggest Black administration in the history of New York is out of office. Now, yes, I know, Bubba, we have the Attorney General is Black, we have the public advocate is Black, and we've got a few borough presidents that's Black. But this is the first time in the history of New York. New York has always been run by whites and others. And they're clear that even when they put their failures in office, they leave them there and move on them to change them. We're the only one that give up our people for the enemy who has proven to be our enemy historically. Now, you cannot build a community where your historical enemy that has made sure you couldn't build a community before is running the economic base of your community and the political base of your community. Now, I remember, and you may find this crazy, when the first Yemeni Muslim store opened in Harlem. And I remember the first because the month after they opened, they killed a Black man with a sword who was trying to rob the store. I was living in Boston, Massachusetts, and I came to New York. And my mom said, James, they killed this brother. Yes, he was trying, but they left the blood on the street. So I walked around to the store, introduced myself to the young men, and I gave them 24 hours to clean their blood off the street. They cleaned the blood off the street in 24 hours. They left that there's a sign to our community that we will come and sell to you and you will buy from us. Because the city of New York have allowed us to open a store in an abandoned building and give us good Muslim brothers liquor and beer license to sell to you, right? In a building that the city owned. And I've got all the Con Ed facilities and everything I need to do this business, and nobody questioned, how did that happen? I did. And I watched them when they opened the second store on 117th and St. Nicholas Avenue. And I followed that family when they opened the third store on 145th Street and 8th Avenue. And when they hired African-American electricians and plumbers to go with them to Yemen to build their first major supermarket at home from the money that they'd gotten from the Black African-Americans who were too blind to see their way in Yemen, in Sana'a. And even then, I'm talking late 70s, early 80s. And I'm trying to tell my people even then, something's going on. And it's not just the brothers from Yemen who came and was good guys and just opened a store. The government itself working with certain ethnic group, because being a Muslim, the brothers, they took me in. to their hearts. So how y'all get all of this? Y'all ain't got no money. It's, we don't have to pay for none of this. Our stores are stocked on consignment. They took me to the warehouse in the Bronx where this other religious ethnic group that dominate New York wholesale industry, who claim that these people, because they have this other religion in the Middle East, is their enemy, but they're fully stocking them so that they can have a business in the Black community and they pay as they sell. We never asked how this process worked and who was working it and why. Because the one thing the enemy do not want is for you to control the economics in the community where you live. And if you get control of the economics where you live, you can then get control of the land where you live. Then you can control the labor, meaning you can put your people to work where you live. Then you reduce the unemployment. You reduce the unemployment, you automatically reduce the crime. Okay? Because people rob and steal because they need something. They can't get it no other way. Very few people go and rob you just because they feel like I'm going to rob somebody today. Most criminals operate out of necessity for need. And that need usually comes from not having access to capital or the employment that give them capital. And so you can't separate any of the things that you're suffering from in your community from all of the other things that make a community work. The control of land, labor, resources, the control of economic, politics, culture, the being in place to provide food, clothing, shelter, safety. All of them come in one package. And as Bubba was saying, culture is your survival tool. That's like the blood in your veins. Culture will inform and instruct you on whose interests you operate every day and how to protect that interest economically, politically, and culturally on a daily basis. And you can do this and still go and have yourself a nice cocktail at night in a bar owned by Black people and drink wine that comes from a farm, even if it's owned in Los Angeles, South Africa, or Ghana by Black people. You can do that. Because I remember
learn to patronize yourself.
I was trying to put some Black South African brothers' wine into the bars in Harlem back in the 70s. Ooh, even the Black bars wouldn't take the Black people's wine because we were unconscious of what it meant economically to work with each other, even across oceans or across the street. But we better learn those things now, or we're going to continue to suffer and pass the suffering on to the next generation.
That's where we're coming in. That's what this workshop is about. How do we stop that? This is the 21st century. Now, he just talked about economics. In 1826, Black people employed less than 3% of the population of Black people in America. 200 years later, 2026, with all these millionaires, we control less than 3% of the employment of our people. We don't employ 3%.
Right.
200 years, we haven't. What has changed? Then we knew white supremacy was domain. Now it's camouflage, but it's just as powerful today as it was 200 years ago.
Yeah. Last year, we spent $1.7 trillion in retail purchases. We did not turn any one of those dollars over in the Black community more than one time. And where it was turned over, it was turned over to government or to our oppressors, not to us. So even though we spend 1.7 trillion, we did not as a community profited from that money. In other communities, the Jewish community, Italian community, the Latino communities, this money is turning over sometimes 10, 12, 15 times before it leaves that community to go to another community.
Some of the Asian communities as high as 20%, 20 times.
And so we've got a lot to talk about on the 7th, and we've got a lot to learn from one another on the 7th. If we're going to get an understanding how to help the next generation of our brothers and sisters and their children and our children and grandchildren to build communities right here in America. We did it before. Tulsa wasn't the only one. We had hundreds of communities like Tulsa. Yes. And we can build it again. We have to look at the history to see, how did they dismantle us? What made us dismantle ourselves? Because we had a belief in humanity that we could all work together that the rest of humanity in America did not have. And when we dismantled ourselves, we were the only ones that were saying, yeah, we all together. Everybody else is saying, oh, we taking care of our own. And we need to look at the formula. You can't be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and pretending you're in the desert, because your ass is going to drown. Okay. And so we want to talk. These are the things we want to talk about. And as Baba said, love is at the foundation of this. You can't do any of this if you do not love thyself. And you cannot love thyself if you do not know thyself. You cannot know thyself if you do not study your history and practice your culture. The formula all works together.
Yes.
And that's what we're coming to dialogue with you about. And we pray that you come and get involved. And like Baba said, bring your computer or your what they call it, your pads. You can do it on your phone. Take your notes. They got all these note-taking apps now. Bring your notebook and your pencil if you want to do it old school. Bring your tape recorder. I don't mind being taped if you get the information, and we share with each other, how do we go forward? How do we come up with a blueprint that anybody in America could use in our community to go forward to building a safe and secure community where you can walk out your door and leave your wife and your children in their house, and they don't have to lock themselves in a room with a gun in their hand with 3 sets of doors locked in front of them. You know, and so that's real, you know.
And we got to make sure not only are you taking care of self, but we're living in an age where it's global. You got to be thinking global. So remember, self first. So I'm here in America. How do I secure this? But I all got to be thinking at home. I got to be thinking Africa. And I'm not talking about any individual country. I'm talking about the continent. I'm wherever folks is. I don't care. Like, yeah, my father's from Tanzania. I'm not like just in love with you. I'm embracing all of Africa. I'm building in Ghana. I'm with the brothers in Burkina Faso. Wherever Black people are, remember, we got to control the real estate. Real estate is the only thing ain't nobody making no more of.
Malcolm said land is the basis of all revolution.
Right. So you can have a house here and a house in Africa. Many of the Asians do it. He just got finished talking about their brothers in Yemen. That's what they were doing. They were building here, but they had homes in Africa, in Yemen, and they sending stuff back. We got to be able to support. Listen, when Africa is strong, then Africans all around the globe become stronger. Because guess what? Somebody got your back. If a Russian guy runs down the street, robs a store, and they catch him, the Russian embassy is there. Russian embassy is there. He could be guilty as I don't know what, but the Russian embassy is there. He's not gonna get shot in the street like they do our people. If a Ghanaian here gets shot in the street, Ghana's not coming right now. Unfortunately, Nigeria's not coming. We got a lot of Nigerians right here. They're not coming. We got to make sure that Africa is for Africans home and abroad. What? Garvey said that 100 years ago. Garvey said that 100 years ago. So brothers, Brother Small said history erases the mystery. And Malcolm said history rewards all research. Your culture is also knowing your ancestral connection. And and how you are connected to nature. And you need to be able to also make an adjustment on your situation. So you got to be, and that's one of the things that's helped Black people survive. The rest of the world is wondering, we're the happiest slaves on the planet. They come here and they want to take pictures. They say, we would be tearing this place up if this was happening to us. And they just as happy. Look, they getting sneakers. They're the best dressed slaves we've ever seen. They taking out pictures. And you think, oh, you looking good. No, they laughing at you. You're the best dressed slave on the planet. With no control over your destiny. And you happy about it. Now, the only way that can happen is that you're just ignorant of the situation as you're ignorant of your culture. You're ignorant of the circumstances.
The worst result of all of this kind of ignorance of self, of history, of culture, is what happens to our children, male and female. Most of our girl children are raped before they're 16 years old. Let me say that again. Most of our girl children, no matter what income household they come out of, all right? Whether your parents are making 150,000 or making 15,000, most of our girl children are raped before they're 16, 17 years old. Most of them, people. Most of our male children now, because of this LGBT thing in this country, are getting molested and raped before they become 17 and 18 years old. Because we have not put a protective culture in place so they know how to defend themselves psychologically. And we have not put the kind of martial protection in our community so they can defend themselves physiologically. And we don't have a cultural base for them to come to. So they're either going to the Muslim cultural base, which is not African. They're going to the Christian cultural base, which is not African. They're going to, and a lot of them now are going to the people flying to Thailand. And so I never felt so free in my life. So they're going to the Asiatic Buddhist cultural base, and none of them wants anything from us except what they can exploit out of us.
And let's make it clear, yo. I want to say something. If you're down and out and you don't have nothing, any one of those cultures can help you survive.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to help you and your people flourish.
No, that ain't
because it's in that Christians' best interest just to help you survive so that you can be in their ballpark. You help them. Muslims will help you survive.
To help you thrive.
Yes.
They will not let you be in charge of your destiny. They will help you survive, but they will be in charge of your destiny. If you want to be in charge of your destiny, and I'm making it raw, you want to stop the rape of your children? And if you have lied to yourself because maybe your little boy or little girl made it to college, you need to go and tell them, sit down and tell you this story. And they shock the hell out of you about what your baby's been going through. Okay? Look on Facebook every day. Every day I'm liking and I'm sharing all these little black baby girls, most of them in the age of 14 to 16 that have disappeared in the last 6 months or the last year. And you're looking at these innocent little faces. We know what they've disappeared into, and they've not disappeared into no Jeffrey Epstein type of trafficking. They've disappeared into the arms of a brute somewhere in your community that's misusing your children.
And sometimes your own family.
Yes. And I've seen it just happen in my family. Incest. And so I'm trying to drop something to wake people up, because there's hardly a brother or sister who are listening to us who ain't been abused and molested, because there was no family structure, no community structure, no cultural structure in place to protect you. Now let's at least protect our children from the pains we've had to suffer.
I got a question. I was just watching, I like watching history as far as like armies, how they won, how they got defeated, armies of Hannibal, the Mongols versus the Muslims, European wars. Who in our history misdirected us to try to assimilate into somebody else's community?
Well, I'll start that. Nobody misdirected us into that. We fought wars against all of these forces, and we won many of those wars. They didn't win all of them. They won the most recent in the most recent centuries. One, because they came up with a new metal technology for swords and spears, and when they came up with the gun technology with the gunpowder out of Asia, we were in trouble. Secondly, they came for the same reason they're coming at us now. Africa, if you go back and look at the Roman conquest of North Africa and Northeast Africa, and just Google what was the purpose. They didn't come because they didn't like black folks. They came for the olive oil. They came for the gold. They came for the salt. They came for the tin because they needed to make bronze and so forth. The same reason they're coming to rob Africa now is the reason those armies came before. Okay? And we have lost some heavy strategic military battle. It is in the process of trying to survive that you end up getting collaborators and cowards and so forth and so on. And when you replicate that thing, as we've done over the centuries, without bringing in a culture, see, it's your culture that destroys cowardism, because your culture gives you protection, and your culture gives you skills to protect yourself from the genocide of other people. And they were smart enough to know to attack our culture, to attack our spiritual system. Once they had defeated us militarily, the attack came against the spiritual system, the cultural system, the language system. So now we've had time to study history and says, okay, this is how we lost that battle. And let those things not be our weaknesses in the future.
There's an African folklore. There's an African folklore. And during the time of the 25th dynasty, one of the Kemetu asked the Kemetic priest who came from Kash, they says, well, you know, Kash developed Sumer in the middle, in the whole so-called Middle East, all the way across to Japan. He said, I traveled to Persia, and now Mongols and other people are in charge. He said, what happened? And the Kemetic priest looked at him and he says, they lost their history, their language, and they died. Simple as that. They got replaced. They lost their history, they lost their language, they lost their culture, and they died.
And that was said back in the
Asia was controlled by the
dynasty Kemet. Okay.
Huh?
I said, and that was stated back in the 25th dynasty Kemet. So
Kemet, yes.
We're still saying the same things today is the reason for the weakness.
And it hasn't changed. Once you lose your culture, once you see what people don't understand, we understand when the Greeks, they're the first white boys to come in and rule Northern Africa. What people don't understand, that was 332 BCE. For 3,000 or 4,000 years, Europeans and Asians was trying to come into Africa, and we would whoop their tail. We were victorious for 3,000 or 4,000 years against their onslaught. But we get amnesia about that. We only remember when we lost the last battle, you know. And then after that, you got,
history erases the mystery. We must study history. History is at the core of a culture, and spirituality is the guiding instrument of any culture.
Yes.
Everybody has a concept of the divinity. And Africa didn't have a concept of divinity based on belief. Africa knew the divinity based on science. All right. We understood cosmology and ecology because we had studied it for tens of thousands of years. And so what we call African religion or spirituality was not some jump hoop religious stuff from the West. That was our knowledge of how the world worked. And we emulated those working laws in our social ecology and in our family structure. And we've lost access to that body of knowledge now, for the most part.
Okay, so I'm going to ask.
When that happened, then you destroy from within.
If you had a time machine and you went to Reconstruction in the South, I'm not talking about Africa, I'm talking about right here in America,
Right.
And you could see between Reconstruction and the Civil Rights era, where did we strategically go wrong? Who was the one that misdirected the whole African American experience?
Nobody did that. That's where you're asking the wrong question. And I have to be very hard on you for that. Your question is wrong. Because there was no person that, and we do the white history teach us to do that. So they say Booker Washington did this or Garvey did this. No, none of them was operating in an isolation or in a vacuum. There were millions of African people doing millions of different things, but you had an enemy coming up against you in a system that he had constructed economically. Capitalism wasn't just something that dropped out of the sky. People sat down in a room and organized this approach to managing wealth and was prepared to put together killer units called military and police to sustain their methodology for managing wealth and who got wealth. And so African peoples, from the time we were in this country, there was nearly 300,000 of us freed during the period of slavery, okay, living in this country and Canada. And we were living in communities and taking care of ourselves and running our businesses. After the Civil War, Reconstruction, nothing significant happened for Black people in Reconstruction. Those few years when a few of us got elected to Congress, we think that is something. Well, we got more Negroes in Congress now, and it doesn't make any difference. So that little period we call Reconstruction was not a significant period for us in this country, because what is significant is what happened after Reconstruction, when we had to take care of ourselves, when we built thousands of schools for ourselves, never been to college, built hundreds of colleges for ourselves, built tens of thousands of businesses for ourselves, built Black accounts from Mumbai, Mississippi, to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to Raleigh, North Carolina, to Winston, to Rosewood, Florida, to St. Louis. We did all of this stuff, but you got an enemy, and we have to do it within the enemy economic system. And so if you know that most of our community were rural, 1917, they had a stock market crash. It was manufactured because there was two systems going on in America. You had the farming banking system, then you had the new Wall Street banking system. The Wall Street banking system and the industrialists wanted to get control of the farming banking system to bring the American economy under one economic control. So they crashed the market and forced the farming system into a depression. They forced them to come under their banking system. And in the process, while they're doing this, they set up what you know today as the Federal Reserve. The big boys from Wall Street go down to Jekyll Island down in Georgia, and they set up a system to control the wealth of the government of the United States. And then they put all of this back together. But they missed, when they got the white farmers and the big Black farmers caught, they missed the Black community economy. But the crash in 1939 or 29, that's when they got us. Because up until then, we had something like 75, 80 Black banks, hundreds of credit unions, thousands of penny associations. When they did that crash in 39 and 29, now you can't open any of those things without a license from them. And that's when they got us.
Whoever controlled the situation.
The terrorists, Ku Klux Klan, and all of it wasn't Klan. White people who was destroying the Black community, they weren't no Klan members. They were just the general white population, backed by the white paramilitary police and other things.
So you understand, the government that we live in is systemically racist.
And terrorists against African people and genocidal against
and always have been. Yes. History rewards all research. So don't just blame it on the Klan and, and just outright. It's just general Europeans.
They used to advertise lynching, brother, and weeks ahead of time. And people would come by train and wagons, and thousands of them, to see a lynching and take pictures to send back home. When you live as a minority in that kind of culture, I'm surprised that our people have survived to where we are today.
Right. And Trump's election is a perfect example that system is still intact.
And it's still intact, and it still persuades the oppressor to support it, because most of the Hispanic brothers and sisters that are catching hell voted for Trump. Okay. And so we have been caught into that kind of thing, that the only options we have in America is the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Now, blacks had voted, 2 blacks ran for president long before Obama, but they ran on the Communist Party back in the 20s. I think 3 or 4 black people had run for president in the United States before, but that party was not big enough to do anything. And blacks had formed other parties that was not big enough to do anything. So we must, one of the things we're going to talk about this weekend or next weekend is to study how the political system works at the most local and basic level of your community, and how to take control of that political system. But you've got to learn how it works. There are laws called election laws. You've got to know what they are if you're going to utilize them. To get on a ballot, you've got to do petition. You got to know the petitioning process to get on the ballot. They make it so intricate to keep you off. If you don't bind your things right, they throw it out. If you don't sign something a certain way that you signed on something else years ago, they throw it out. So you got to learn these rules. Because if you're going to fight the enemy, you got to master the environment you're in. You got to master the ecology you're in, because you have an aggressive enemy. You can't just be a good citizen and do the right thing. And that's been what's killed us. We've tried to be the human being. We've tried to do the right thing, live the right way. You cannot do that when you have an aggressive enemy that's out to commit genocide against you. And there's no particular ideology that can save us. And people go back and say, well, you know, Mr. Garvey built the biggest black organization, yada, yada, yada. Mr. Garvey was able to build that big black organization because it came to the United States of America, where people who had to fight white supremacy from the minority had been the most successful resistance movement in the history of the world. He couldn't do it nowhere else. He couldn't do it in Jamaica. He couldn't do it nowhere else in the Caribbean. Otherwise, he would have done it there. And those people, 90% of the people in his ranks was African Americans. They were not from the Caribbean or from the continent of Africa. And so sometimes we got to look and see what's going on, you know. And he was invited here by Mr. Booker T. Washington.
That's what we came to see.
And that was his friend. They'd written, I've read those letters. Mr. Booker T. Washington III was a member of the OAAU. I don't know whether you met him when you were a young man. Lived right down the street on 139th Street when we left the Teresa Hotel and bought that house. And I read those letters with Chanang and Schomburg while it was in his basement, you know, from Booker to Garvey and Garvey to Booker, back and forth. And so what we need to do is understand history and see why was those people successful? Because they had a certain kind of relationship. Right now we have a polarization and try to call it relationship. Then you got brothers like, I'd ask one brother, why are you going to support Manzani against Adams? I know Eric, but I don't particularly think he's the nicest guy in the world. That's not why he's there. He's there to make sure the resources, at least we get some access to those resources. Now we ain't going to get no access to the resources. So that government ain't about somebody sitting up there looking handsome, looking pretty, and making some nice speeches. It's about how do you split up and divvy up the money, right? How do you split up and divvy up the resources?
And you know, he went straight to his culture.
Yes.
He went straight to his culture.
And
no question about it.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that don't go straight to our culture because we are ignorant of what our culture is. And the culture we do have, we don't know how to make it work for us.
Right. Because of ignorance, because of a lack of knowledge of history. You know, if I say my mama was a root woman, with the average, and my grandma was a root woman, and my great grandma was a root woman, 99% of our people don't have a clue what that meant. All right? That these were women who retained the culture and the medicine and the spiritual system of Africa and practiced it in coastal South Carolina, where we came from. And I was raised at the hands of those root women. In the culture of Africa, right here in America, like many of us don't know, we didn't lose Africa. How are you going to lose your beingness? You might forget it. You can have the amnesia, but your beingness is eternal. You don't lose it. In many places, we retained it from Mississippi to Arkansas to Alabama to Louisiana to even New York City. Okay, we hung on to significant aspect of the culture. But we are at war. There's been a race war in America since the day the white people got here. A race war against us. And particularly after larger numbers of us got here during the so-called enslaving genocide period, where that war got intensified in order to break us. Well, you have casualties in war. We need to study the war and learn about our casualties, and then now study our ancestors and figure out how are we going to respond to the enemy's aggression? How are we going to respond to the mistakes we made? Where is our primary tool? And Baba has said our primary tool is our culture. We have to bring that back into play. So as we make a response to providing food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security for our family and our community, as we make a response to rebuild the economic, politics, and culture where we are, we will now learn that there's a certain protection we've got to give it that we didn't give it before, and it cost us dearly.
To develop something and not be able to protect it is like not having it at all. Because the enemy will take it. And they do that. They're experts at it. Right. Look at them in the world. There is no nation in the world that benefited from white capitalism conquerors.
None.
Not one. So you got to do your research. So by following them and imitating them, you're signing your own death certificate. You see, we can't do Black Wall Street, Rosewood, and them right now because they did their homework.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do our homework to combat that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this think tank is all about. That's what this workshop is about. We need to sit back. How did they systematically, totally take control of our community?
Mm-hmm.
So once you know what they did, now you can undo anything that could be programmed can be unprogrammed.
Mm-hmm. You know, I coined the term post-slavery trauma syndrome back, and I did the first lecture on it, I think, back 1992 in Philadelphia. And because of something I saw in my students in my classes, in our discussions about slavery, and I realized, oh my God, the things that slavery did to us is still with us.
It's still with us.
It's still informing how we respond and behave. And I was calling it not the Helsinki, but everything syndrome in Black. And it was Dr. Patricia Newton says, let's come up with another idea. And we were riding down the street in Baltimore, passing John Hancock. And I remember the exact moment when Pat told me, God bless her soul, she says, you know, I work in John Hancock, or John Hopkins, sorry, John Hancock. And she says, I'm dealing with a lot of brothers who are gay, and I'm dealing with the trauma they went through. And she says this post-traumatic stress that's going on. I said, oh, okay, here's what we're going to do. It's called post-slavery trauma then. That's what we're going to do. And then we added syndrome to it, because syndrome means it's continuous, right? It continues today. And so I think our sister who did her own independent research, Joy Degree, has put out an excellent document.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should read the document that Dr. Degree had put out on post-slavery stress disorder. And everybody should read Marima Ani's book, Urugu. I mean, there are other literature I can represent too, but those two pieces of literature is just so essential to understand what we're talking about here and what we
let you know what you're up against. Most of us don't understand what we're up against. They don't understand how systemic. See, they think if they just put a black face in there, it'd be okay.
Right.
No, the system is broke.
Yeah.
The system was never designed to work for us.
Yeah. So many of us are so damaged. Mm-hmm. We've got to try to get some of the healthy ones. And I'll show you some good models. Like people will say, Garvey started the going back to Africa movement. We don't need false history. That's not true. We had already built Sierra Leone and Liberia before that. And white people didn't build Liberia. White people came up with the idea to get rid of us. They say, how do we get rid of the free black folks? Because they're enticing, after David Walker's appeal, they're enticing the enslaved black folks to rebel. And they said, well, let's send them back. They want to first send us to Haiti. And that wasn't working out. Now,
That
thousands
was
of us.
Lincoln. That was
want to go
Lincoln's.
home,
Lincoln
right?
wanted to do that.
Yeah. And then they decide, well, let's send them back to, they want to send us to Mexico because there was a large African population in Mexico. But then that wasn't working. So they said, well, let's send them back to Africa. And so they sold this idea to black folks. Black folks said, yeah, we want to go back home. And those black folks sold their farms, their land, and their chicken, and raised that money for those ships to take them to Liberia. And within a year, they'd push all the white folks out of that organization, and black folks took it for themselves. And the man who was responsible for getting most black folks to go to Liberia after the Civil War was Martin Delany, working out of Charleston, South Carolina. Now, before that, after the British War, we had Paul Cuffey up in the New England states, who was a wealthy black man, working with other black people. When they realized even the British had betrayed them in Nova Scotia, they said, then let us go home. And so we went to Sierra Leone, along with other blacks coming from the UK and from Jamaica. So we had already, before Booker Washington Mugabe was even born, really, we had already built 2 African nations coming from this side. Knowing that was our home, we had already gone back. And there was a brother, he's only one of many brothers. The brother's name is Chief Sam. Chief Sam was a Ghanaian brother, very wealthy. Back in the 1800s, bought some ships, 3 ships, trying to come here to America to get us and take us back home. So don't say our people didn't try. He was just one example. Now, the British interdicted them and stopped them, but Sam almost pulled it off. Paul Cuffey pulled it off. The brothers and sisters of the state of Liberia, there was no Liberia. We built Liberia. We created Liberia. We bought the swamp lands from some of our brothers and sisters, some who were still engaging in the slave trade. And the first war we had in Liberia was against a community of chiefs who did not want to give up the slave trade. So we need to study history. Then we won't be running around talking about Amero-Liberian did this and that. The only real Liberians in the beginning was the Amero-Liberian. You know, there were other ethnic nations there, but they sold us their land so we can build something for ourselves. We didn't go in with guns blazing and did anything to anybody. I brought all that up because, see, history erases the mystery, and you don't go with your enemy's narrative and lies that will lead you to the wrong conclusion when you're trying to make plans for your liberation. And as much as I love Dr. Garvey, but Martin Delany went to Africa before the Civil War. A place called, Martin Delany was born a free man to free African parents. His grandfather came from a place we now call Nigeria and a kingdom called Abeokuta. And he went back to Abeokuta. And guess what? They formed the Niger Valley Association. To do what? Take all of us back home. And what did the people in Africa do? Give him all of the land he needed to bring us back home. Do people know this history? And he comes back to America, but when his son is dying, remember he's a medical doctor, right? And at the same time he's fighting to save his child's life, the Civil War starts. And he figures, okay, shit, they want to do a kill and field, and maybe if we do this, we can get free, fighting in this war. And so he goes and get involved in the war and struggles others to get involved and become the highest ranking black in the war. And he's the first one that coins the term back to Africa as a concept. So we need to just learn these things in history. So Dr. Garvey reads about this man. Mr. Washington reads about this man. He lives even after the Civil War. And we've just forgotten Frederick Douglass in all of this. The woman who worked with Dr. Garvey, oh my Lord. She was one of the baddest sisters in this country. She was a protege of Frederick Douglass. And she became the primary organizer for UNIA, not just here, but in Central South America, because she was from Washington, D.C. She was a school teacher and an actress. They call it elocutionist back then. And I forgot her name. She ended up dying in Philadelphia because she ended up being a part of that Philadelphia UNA chapter until she passed. Henrietta Benton Davis. And we need to know that giant of a woman. Mm-hmm. Henrietta Benton Davis. Right? If you ever see the picture with all the brothers and Garvey standing on the step, there's one woman standing in the middle. That's her. And yet most of us don't know her name. You know, so that's why I say history erases the mystery. And we'll see we've won many battles since we've been here. We didn't even lose all the battles here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We've won them. And yes, we've had traitors among us. We've had collaborators among us. Every people throughout history have had those things. But the main cause of our defeat was when we allowed the attack on the culture and the language and the spiritual system to find success.
Because then you destroy yourself.
That's who we are. And that's why being an African isn't just having the label Africa. Being an African isn't just being from the continent of Africa. Being an African is being that body of knowledge that our ancestors from the beginning of time perfected as our culture. That's what makes me African. I'm a juju man. I'm a voodoo man. I'm a give it to me anywhere it comes from the source. Give me latte, give me a Carnaby shrine, give me Oya, give me Yoruba, you know, all of them. That's me.
And I'm a cultural custodian. My job is to keep the culture, teach the language. I teach the Madu Necha. We teach Kiswahili. We teach the language. We teach the root culture. And I teach about nature, symptomatic thinking versus symbolic thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking symbolically, that's how you get bamboozled.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't prove any of that. There's no proof behind it. There's no scientific data behind it.
Right.
Symptomatically, I can prove it.
Our whole culture, our whole spiritual system is based on our ancestors mastering the knowledge of cosmology and ecology.
Yes.
And our role in the two. That's our culture. That's our power. When we return back to that, we will defeat any enemy on the earth. We've been defeating them and surviving subconsciously using fragments of that. We've been using aspects of our culture, not even though we're doing it subconsciously, and that's what has been saving us. What happens when we become conscious and deliberate about using it consciously? That's what they're afraid of. That's what they're afraid
listen,
of.
Nobody invests millions of dollars to keep you enslaved if you don't have no power.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody invests institutions just to dumb you down if you're not an important entity.
We are the divine, having the divine human experience. Baba, you laid it out precisely. I used to leave that divine out, but you got me now.
Yes, we are divine spiritual beings having a divine human experience.
Yeah,
we have to accept our divinity.
Yes.
And they spend trillions of dollars for us not to accept that.
Let me just say some simple thing. I'm going down the stairs when we finish in a few minutes. I'm going to have me a banana, right? I had some carrots earlier. You know, I had some string beans earlier. I had some black beans earlier. Every one of those things took light from Ra, took energy and light from the sun. And when I eat them, I'm eating sunlight. I'm ingesting Ra. Can you dig it? Like the old folks would say when I was young. Can you dig it? That's simple. We are the universe, not just the world. We are the universe.
And we have to look at ourselves as these divine beings. So now, how do we recapture our divinity? It's there already. How do we bring it out and utilize it so that we benefit? You see, when we do this, we're not talking about oppressing nobody. We're not talking about doing nobody else in. We're talking about how do we become in harmony with nature? How do we self-sustain ourselves despite this enemy? You notice there's no African nation left Africa or wherever we are in the world and went and oppressed other people.
No. And we didn't do it when we were in Africa.
Yes.
Anybody who came in need, we gave them a piece of land to live on and showed them how to make a living off of the land. But because they were unconscious as human beings, they turned on us. That's one of our critical mistake, not having seen the damage that ICE did to those of us who went north. And when we let them back into the house of the sun, they became ice and acted ice. And you know what ice relationship is to heat. And so the laws of nature explains it thoroughly. Now we have a job to do, and we want to try to help one another on the 7th appreciate what this job is that we must do for the future of our people.
So Hank, you got any specific questions for us as we close out?
I created this song that reverses the Willie Lynch program. And I just want to play that before we close out, because you got a packed house tonight.
Yes,
folks, it's 9 degrees in New York, and this place is packed right now. So I want to play this so that because we with music we can change our mindset.
Yes, sir.
So listen to this, if we may.
Yeah.
And this is what it's called: Rise.
Not on a riverbank soaked in fear, but on solid ground where truth draws near. I speak not chains, I speak not blame. I speak the spark that reclaims your name. Where lies once whisper you are small, we answer now, you stand, you call. Where minds were bent to doubt and break, we rise awake for legacy's sake. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Not on a riverbank soaked in fear, but on solid ground where truth draws near. I speak not chains, I speak not blame. I speak the spark that reclaims your name. Where lies once whisper you are small, we answer now, you stand, you call. Where minds were bent to doubt and break, we rise awake for legacy's sake. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Napuna, Napuna. Oh, yeah. Unity over division. Yeah. Where age was split to spark disdain, we break the young with elder brain. Old holds a map, the young the flame. Together moving worlds, not blame. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Napuna, Napuna. Where shade was ranked and ranked again, we see one sun refracted men. Light bends but never loses worth. Each hue a note in cosmic birth. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Napuna, Napuna. Yeah. Where sex was set as war and threat, we choose to dance, not to duet. Masculine fire, feminine sea, power and polarity, not tyranny. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Napuna, Napuna.
Trust over fear. Trust over fear.
Fear was planted deep and wide, so hearts would turn and hope would hide. But fear decays when truth is fed and trust grows roots where lies once spread. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nepunu, Nepunu. Trust the voice you hear inside. Trust your kin who stand beside. Trust the past that made you strong. Trust the future calling long. For fear must feed to stay alive. But trust expands when people thrive. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. The woman no longer forced to guard. The man no longer stripped and scarred. No one ahead, no one behind. Two sovereign pillars aligned, refined. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. She is wisdom, calm and keen. He is courage, steady, clean. Not ruler and rule, not throne and floor, but builders of the evermore. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. A king is crowned when balance stays. A kingdom falls when one decays. For one who knows what they are called cannot be bought, cannot be stalled. I am that I am. That I am. Hey, hey, I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. When we once was made the rule, we teach abundance, share not cruel. With distrust ran generation deep, we sow remembrance souls can keep. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. No cycle spins by accident. It turns by what the people meant. And what was taught to make you kneel is now reversed. You rise, you see. Yeah. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Nakuru, Nakuru. This is not rage, this is not war. This is remembering who you were before. A slave is made by a break inside. A God is born by an amen line.
Well, there you have it.
That's beautiful. That's magnificently beautiful.
And we had to do some special graphics for the show tonight.
You were wonderful. It was wonderful, brother.
Yeah. So, family, take note. Baba Mfundishi, you heard Nuke Poo Nuke.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you share with the folks about a little about Nuke Poo Nuke, please?
Well, when I say we are divine spiritual beings having a divine human experience, that almost says you are the creator in human form. And you have to identify who you are. You are the everybody who's a human being comes from you. So you got to claim your divinity. And you are a manifestation of the one. And I am that I am. And you got to accept that. So that's what, going back to the cultural thing again, your culture is your medicine. Once you know who you are, now you stand different. Now you dress different. Now you talk different. Now you walk different. And you just can't say I am that I am, and you can't protect what you are. So that's what goes back to being able to defend all that you love.
That's so
the
awesome.
First person you love is yourself.
That was a beautiful piece, Bobby. You got to give me a copy of that.
Yeah, that's nice, man. I like that.
Oh man, be on it. I'm gonna send you the whole playlist.
Okay.
Because I'm in total agreement, and I think one of the things we have to do, even if we have to grab AI by the neck, we have to take back our music.
Oh yeah. Every tool that's available, we've got to master it and use it. Every tool. So that
our enemy specializes on stealing our stuff and then profiting and flourishing off of our stuff.
Yeah.
So
and then he can repackage it and try to sell it back to us.
I want to
I want to just remind everybody, tomorrow there's a youth conference in Harlem. It's called the Youth Solution and Survival Summit at the 125th Street at the Harlem State office building on the second floor. So all it's free. All you need is ID to get in, and it's talking about youth, how they can begin to solve our own problems. So it's called the Youth Solution and Survival Summit. That's tomorrow from 12 to 6 at the Harlem State Art Office Building, second floor. So, and remember us on the 7th of February. Okay, so come out and support yourself. Now, one of the questions, the program was geared for Black men to step up, but Black women, you can come. Everybody can come. So Black women, yes, you are invited. It's specifically for the Black men rising.
And Black women, come and bring your Black man if he don't want to come. You make
right,
sure
drag him there. Bring your son, your uncle, your father. Bring some Black men there.
We got to start somewhere, and the somewhere is where we at right now.
So I want to say, Brother Hank, thank you for bringing us on and sharing this with the community.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Bubba, because Bubba and sis, we're going to do this.
Yeah, and y'all welcome to come back anytime.
Okay.
Yes,
because spirit of Ubuntu. And thank you, everyone, family, listening. Please like, share, subscribe. Ubuntu. Oh, you got a good question here. For the event on the 7th of February, are families invited to participate from Diamond Net 2009?
We encourage people to come. If they're in the main hall is only holds about 70 people. So if they're in the main hall, then they can ask questions and participate. If they're in the satellite room, it's going to be hard for them to do that. That's the $40, $50.
Write the questions down, and we'll send someone to collect them.
Right.
And bring them. That'll be a way to make sure that everyone have a participation.
Okay. Excellent.
Yes, because it's the Black family. Let me just say, the Black man don't exist if ain't no Black family. Okay, so I just want you. So when you inviting Black men, yes, it's the families invited. Yes.
All right. And I'll make sure they have also in the show family in the description at the end of the show. I'm going to put the show link, the event, February 7th event link in the show description. So I'm going to do that momentarily. All right. I want to thank you again, Baba James Small, Baba Mfundishi.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, y'all welcome. Come back anytime. Anytime.
Yes. Well, I'll be coming back because I'm be doing my trip to Ghana and Senegal this summer.
Right, and
on a break.
I got my trip to Kemet, February and April.
So we need to do a show afterwards just on those two things.
Yeah, I like the way y'all do a tag team. I just had to pull back and leave y'all to do the tag. The way y'all was working the information, it was amazing. I was able to go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Spiritual and very fluid. So
it's real fluid. So you always have a welcome. Last show you had close to, I don't have a show as big as Brother Rich, but last show was, I think, about 900 views so far. Wow. So you're definitely reaching folks. So I want to thank you again.
Okay.
And folks are saying thank you. The house is full on a cold night, and let's see you soon.
All right. Do our nature.